They were number one on the radio for 5 years in a row.
I've listened to Tiny and Katy since way back.
Now, they're the number one podcast at WAYZ.com.
I love the Tiny and Katy Show.
It's the Tiny and Katy Show.
Hey, I'm Tiny.
And it's Katy.
Welcome to the Tiny and Katy Show after a week off. Did you enjoy your vacation, Katy?
I did. I just want to start by saying that you may notice that the hair and makeup is done today.
Yeah, why is that?
Do not get used to this. This is a very special occasion. So I just want everybody to know this is just a one-time deal. Because I'm looking at myself on the camera thinking like, wow, I actually look pretty decent.
And what's funny is when we signed on here, I looked at Katy and I knew exactly what she was thinking because we were having, not that we were having technical difficulties, but there's this one issue that we've been having over and over and over again every time that we start. And Katy is in Winchester and I'm in Waynesboro, so we're over an hour apart. It's not like I can just come to her house and click and be done with it. But while I'm explaining this, usually she's a little perturbed at me. She's like, Tiny, this is just ridiculous. You got to get this fixed, blah, blah, blah.
I'm in a really good mood today. I'm fine
she's
today.
She's like, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, let me just chime right in here. I need to discuss how I'm girlfriend of the year. So,
okay, please do.
My boyfriend's birthday is on Monday, the 11th. Okay. And I wanted to do something really, really special for him. Well, one of my friends at my CrossFit gym owns a plane, like a bigger than a Taylor Craft, but it's a two-seater. It's a pretty small plane.
Okay.
And
you're talking about a legitimate airplane.
Yes. And he's been a pilot for like 10 years, and he's a friend of mine. I love him. He's amazing. And I asked him if he would take John up in the plane for his birthday. And I obviously can't go because it's a two-seater. So they left at 10.
You couldn't even go alone.
Because my spare tire takes up 2 seats. So yeah. So they got in the airplane around 10 and flew to Hagerstown, stopped, had lunch, and now they're flying over Harper's Ferry. And then they're going to land in Summit Point, West Virginia. And I'm going to go and pick up John. And I texted, he just texted me because I said, are you okay? I'm a little obviously like worried. Like I trust Dustin so much, but just want to make sure everything's going okay. And I said, how's everything going? And he said, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Nice.
And as soon as he lands, I'm picking him up and we're driving to Arlington where he lives, where there is a surprise party with a bunch of his friends at a brewery.
Wow. So as you see this will have already happened.
Correct.
So,
this is not like spoiler alert or anything like that.
Yeah.
But so I'm getting ready to pick him up as soon as we're done with our podcast. I'm going to go get him in a field in Summit Point, West Virginia. Right. Isn't that a pretty awesome birthday present?
That is quite impressive.
Thank
you. What I'm baffled by is you've known this person for so long, this pilot, and you have yet to do this for me.
I haven't even done it for myself.
I don't care. Not everything's about you.
Well, here's the thing. My dad was a private pilot and he had his own plane. So I went up in planes all the time when I was a kid. And then when I was in Alaska, my friend Megan has a Taylor Craft and she took us up over the glaciers and it was really, really amazing. So I've done this quite a few times. So I was happy to let him go and do it. But if you would like to do it as well, Tiny, I can arrange it. There's a weight limit though. Just have to let you know. Yeah.
I want it arranged.
There's a weight limit.
What, like in a couple weeks?
No, like body weight.
Okay, I see. I got you.
Also, I got to tell you something else. I am an adult now. I'm adulting so hard.
Okay, why is that?
I bought a new car.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. I got
Tell me about this car.
Forcer.
So, last night, I get this message. I went. We're recording this on Sunday, by the way. It's the 10th. And last night, I went to Charlestown to see Leanne Rimes, who, by the way, puts on an incredible show.
Oh, yeah.
It is a very stripped down, intimate type show. She did a slow acoustic version of a One-Way Ticket, which was just phenomenal. I said while she was singing it, I said, this is kind of like the grown-up version of this song. And when she was finished, and everybody's like, oh, going crazy over the song, she says, yeah, that's kind of the grown-up version of that song. Yeah.
Did she sing? You know what my favorite Leanne Rimes song is?
Probably Wouldn't Be This Way.
No, Nothing About Love.
Oh, well, okay. So here's my critique.
I can't get the words.
Nothing About Love makes sense.
Yes. That's my favorite LeAnn Rimes song. And I love to sing that song. And I sing it really, really loudly. And I'm not good at singing, obviously, but I love to belt that song out.
Here's my critique of the show. Now, mind you, we stayed for an hour of it because my friend Dave had
he had to be up 3
at
songs and then get out of there.
I'm going to blame it on Dave because he had to be up at 2:30 in the morning this morning. But in reality, that's about as long as I stay for a show. So the critique that I have is she sounded great. I mean, it's LeAnn Rimes, for crying out loud. She can. I've used this over and over again. She can sing the phone book, and she's going to sound amazing. But she sang a lot of unfamiliar stuff. Now, I'm sure everybody loved it, and it did sound good. Don't get me wrong, but we were an hour in, and the only things she had sang that were recognizable hits was she sang Blue very early on. I kind of felt like she did that just to kind of get it out of the way,
and kind of get you in and draw you in to the show.
Right. She did Nothing Better to Do and One Way Ticket. And that's it. And I'm like...
For the whole time you were there?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Oh.
So in an hour... And she has so many more hits. Like, until you just said Nothing About Love Makes Sense, I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah. I do not like when artists do that. I know they want to promote their new music, and I'm on board with that. But I'm going to a show so I can sing. I want to hear the hits. It's like when I saw Dave Matthews Band. And Dave is tough to see because he has so many songs. He's been around forever. But you want to hear those classics. You want to hear Gray Street, 41, Dancing Nancy's Two Step. Those are like the classics. And he only gives you maybe 1 or 2. And then a lot of times it's, I'm a Dave fan, but I'm not like a diehard Dave fan. So I don't know those other tracks. And you're just like waiting and waiting and waiting to sing because I love to sing at concerts.
Yeah, you're like, there's one. Let's everybody sing this.
Yeah. And then you're like excited and you're pumped. And then it's like, a half an hour until the next one.
Yeah, there was a study done a while back that said that people, when they go to see a concert, they like 97% of the people only want to hear the hits. They don't want to hear anything new. Unless the new thing is like your newest song on the radio and they've heard it. Other than that, they don't want to hear it. And when you're someone like LeAnn, you could do the whole show of hits. I mean, an hour and a half could be hits.
And no offense to LeAnn Rimes, but does she have anything new out? I mean, she doesn't have a ton to choose from. So I would just think she's going to do the hits.
I want to make it very clear that critique was just merely in not hearing the songs. She sounded phenomenal. It's not like I was going to say, she sounded like garbage. Oh, God, no. Completely the opposite. She sounded absolutely top notch. From the moment she sat down, her entrance, you know me. I am an entrance whore.
You like the entrance. Yes. You're all about the entrance. Yes.
I love it. And she walked out. All you saw was this little flashlight, and I knew what was happening. And they walk her out, and she sits. It's just her. She sits at this piano. There's all these candles, these pillar candles around, and she starts in on this song that I really couldn't tell you any of the words, but the passion that she sang it with, and her voice just piercing through that hall was like, oh my God, you had me.
Where was the concert?
It's at the event center at Charlestown Races. Which,
okay, yes.
Anyone listening to this, if you have a chance, I don't care what the genre is. If you have a chance to see a show there, go. It is one of the greatest venues I've ever been in. It is small, it's intimate, and I know this is going to sound funny, Katie, but you'll know that this is how I am. People stay seated for the show.
I know, that's why you always love the Maryland Theater.
Oh,
yes, because you're
God, I love
do you remember when we went to Pier 6 Pavilion in Baltimore? That was my favorite venue we'd ever been to.
Yeah, let's tell you a story about that real quick. We that was Darius Rucker, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Janet Kramer had opened, so it was a dual purpose. So the guy that Katie was seeing at the time, and me too, was just huge Hootie and the Blowfish fans. And I arranged, we had meet and greets, and at the time, and I still do, I love
Janet Kramer.
Oh my
that
God.
was your jam.
If there was ever a travesty to me of someone not going farther in stardom in country music, it was her, because I just think she had so much talent. Beautiful, she was like I was never one for crushes as far as celebrities go, but if I were, she was top of the list. But anyway, the weather was perfect. The breeze coming, and by the way, it's Pier 6 Pavilion. It's on the harbor in Baltimore.
And everybody's in their boats in the water and just listening to the concert. It was amazing, and it wasn't super big.
There's not a bad seat in the house.
Yeah, that was my favorite venue I've ever been to.
It's unbelievable. And as far as entrances go, Darius's entrance was so cool. He had this like 6 foot or 7 foot video board that was the span of the stage. And little did we know that the start of it, the band comes out and they start to play, whatever. And Darius here is in the middle of it. You don't see it. And then he's on this thing that just spins him around. And next thing you know, he's facing the crowd. And we just went nuts.
Huh. So all this started, by the way, because I was telling you I got a new car.
Yes.
So I had to tell you what happened to me last night. So I went out and I got a car, and I have had the same car for like 9 years. It's been paid off forever, and I love that car, but it has like 210,000 miles on it. I got a new job that's going to require a lot of travel, and it did not pass inspection.
Oh, really?
And it needs a Cadillac converter.
A catalytic converter, yeah.
A catalytic converter, which I guess can cost like a couple $1,000s.
Probably, at this point, it's just get a new one, yeah.
Right. So I went, and you know how hard it is to get a new car or a used car at this point.
Even a new
really
car,
difficult
really.
Yeah. So I did find one on the lot, and I love Subarus. I will never drive anything other than a Subaru. So we went to the dealership. I found the Forester. I really loved it. They did not budge on the price, which I was really hoping they'd come down. No, they do not. They did not budge at all on the price. But I have really good credit, so I ended up getting a good interest rate. It all worked out well. But I haven't bought a new car in 8-9 years. It's been a long time. Yeah, I mean, I had a 2010 Subaru Legacy.
And even then, let's talk about this too, as far as adulting goes, because even when you bought that one, the guy you were seeing at the time was your salesman. So he pretty much took the deal from
for me.
Start to finish. You didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like now cars have satellite radio and backup cameras and Bluetooth, and I don't know any of that technology.
Right.
I literally had a CD player in my car, and that was the end of it. So it's taking me a while to figure out what to do with all these buttons because I'm not familiar with it. But afterwards, my boyfriend was really proud of me because I was very adulting and I was being a big girl and I got a nice car. So we went out and we celebrated. And we celebrated with 3 bottles of champagne. And so we were feeling nice at the end of the night. My neighbors came over. And I got that Bluetooth wireless microphone, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I think John sent you a video of this. I don't know if you saw it or not. So
he sent me. I got 4 pictures.
Well, he meant to send you a video because as soon as that microphone comes out, it is like game over. I love to perform, and I hooked it up to my Alexa. So not even just on my phone, it's on my Alexa. And so I took this microphone after having 3 bottles of champagne, and I live in a townhouse, right? And I have neighbors on both sides, and then across the way there's 3 townhouses as well. I took my microphone and I was going out the front door and just doing karaoke as loud as I possibly could. All my neighbors came out of their house to see what the hell was going on.
Oh, jeez.
And I don't even know what I was singing, like maybe Toto Africa. And they would come out and they're like, is everything okay? And I'm like, it would take a lot to drag me away from you. Yeah, you know it. You know it. Yeah.
It's nothing that a motor man can do.
Tiny, I'm so humiliated. I'm going to only use the back door. I'm not using the front door anymore. I'm so embarrassed.
Wow.
I just get so excited when I see that stupid microphone and I can't calm down.
You know what you need?
And all I want to do is sing and perform.
This is what you need. You know how there's, and I go to Ocean City, Maryland a lot, and on the boardwalk there's a lot of, what do they call them? Buskers. People, they'll perform, and they'll basically for tips, like you see on the streets of New York as well. And there's always this one guy that has basically a band, but he's wearing a band. He has an accordion and a cymbal, and when he pats his foot, it's moving all these different things. And he's got his guitar and he's singing and whatever. You need a stage that just walks with you.
I have no talent. I have no talent.
No, I understand
at all.
I totally agree. You have no reason to have this as far as talent goes.
No.
But you have every reason to have it because of this innate desire in you to perform. And the thing is, maybe if you always had a stage available, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to you. But it's like
I don't know.
When somebody when Katy sees that microphone could be covered in COVID. And she would be like,
"Stop me!"
I bless the plains in Africa.
If there's an opportunity to perform, I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I suck at singing, like absolutely suck at it. And I listen to these because John is always like recording me, so because he thinks it's funny and he like watches it later, and a lot of times he's trying to send it to you, and so I'll watch it and I'm like, man, I suck. I have zero talent, but. You have no idea. You would think that I think I'm Lady Gaga because I am
what it is?
Feeling it and I'm performing.
Because what's everyone doing while you're doing this?
Laughing.
Yes. And that is an entertainer, whether you want to bring someone to tears like you're Celine Dion, or whether you want to make someone laugh like you're a stand-up comedian, whatever it is, your tool to do that is your horrendous voice. And this, I think some people Some people might think that you believe you can sing. I, however, know that you know full well you cannot. So therefore, I know that you're doing it just because you just want to have fun.
Well, let me ask you a question, Tiny, because you're pretty funny. Doesn't it feel great when you can make people truly laugh?
Yes.
I mean, that is a huge form of flattery. And that's why I adore my boyfriend, because he's so funny. And he makes me laugh so hard where I physically cannot breathe. Mm-hmm. And when I'm done and I finally like calm down, he's like, that just feels so good. It feels so good to make people laugh. I am I'm big fan of that. What
I like when it comes to making people laugh is when it's in the small things. It's not just telling a joke and people that laughter is what's expected. It's like in a way of speaking or a way of communicating. Like I like when people say, oh, not just with me, but that person tells a story, and when they're telling that story, it's just, I'm dying laughing.
Yes.
Because it's a true story. Or just the way someone says something. For instance, talking about John, when I first talked to him, it was on the phone, and you had me on speaker, and I forget what it was that you, as in Katy, did or said on the phone, and any other person listening to it would have thought, oh my goodness, that really stuck out. And I said, that's just another bark in the kennel. Mm-hmm. And doing that, I thought John was going to lose it laughing.
Yeah, he had never
and
heard
you're
that
right.
before.
So that does feel good when when you make someone laugh, but it also feels good to laugh. And there are times, I'm telling you, when Katy has started rock and roll, and the biggest one, and we've played it, early on in the episodes here, was singing "My Heart Will Go On." I mean, I thought that's probably the one time in my life that I thought I was going to pass out.
I know. Do you remember? The thing is about me is I love to make an ass out of myself, and I don't care. I will do whatever, and it's all coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Even my neighbor was over at my house last night with her fiance, and I'm singing and I'm dancing, I'm doing my thing, and I'm going over to him and kind of giving him a little bit of a lap dance, but it's coming from a good place.
Oh,
and
sure.
John said to me, you should probably not do that. That's your neighbor's fiance. And I said, no, but they know me. They know I do this. It's coming from a good, fun, silly place. But do you remember when we were at the Lady Antebellum concert and I was dancing in between the acts? And I mean, like acting like an absolute idiot. That was another time where I thought you were going to pass out. It's all recorded.
I do have a video of that. And I'm going to see if I can find that. I will post it now. And in case I can't, let me try to kind of describe why this happened with Katy. Is before the show, they had this camera that was going around, and it was just shooting random people. And what they were doing is they were just checking they checked the cameras. It's kind of like an opening act in a concert. The crowd is supposed to like them, but the whole point is they're trying to get the sound dialed in is what they're doing. But same thing with this. They were trying to make sure the cameras could get good crowd shots, and also they're just going around and music's playing as it does at before show, and they're going around and they're shooting this group and they're shooting this group of people.
And I wanted to get on that camera so bad.
And she is dying to get on this camera, and she's like, "Tiny, where is it? Where is it?" And next thing you know, it gets to our general vicinity, and turns out it was like the section over from us, wasn't it?
It was like going over to the section.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Katie's like shuffling to the side, trying to get into this. Well, now the people in our section, none of them are dancing except for this buffoon here. And we're all dying laughing at Katy because she is just trying her damnedest to get in the view of this camera. as if it's going on nationwide television.
But Tiny, I don't know if you remember, I was dancing, but I kept putting my hand over like this to see if I could at least get my hand in there.
A part of you was trying to get in it, as if this video would somehow live in perpetuity
and launch me into my fame.
Yeah,
because I was on the cam at the Lady Antebellum concert.
That's Katy's hand, mind you, right there on camera. Hey, so speaking of first, Katy, remember I said about I almost passed out? That was one of the times I almost passed out. I'm going to tell you a story about how I almost passed out for the first time in my life doing something this past week that I was doing something I really wanted to do, but scared me half to death when this all happened. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Did you go skydiving?
No, I want to, though. But I'll tell you the story. And see, when you do something like that, you make it sound like it's going to be some amazing thing that I did, and then it can't live up to it.
Oh, is it lame? Is this lame?
So it's not lame. It's not lame. But anyway, we'll tell you about that coming up in just a minute on the Tiny and Katy Show, all powered by Roots Hair Design, Route 11 in Marion. You don't want your hair just cut or styled. Get your hair designed at Roots Hair Design, 5459 Molly Pitcher Highway in Chambersburg, 717-375-2130. How about a women's cut? $32, $35, or $38? Guys, you're not going to get a better price on the cut you're going to receive at Roots Hair Design than $23. Now, if you have a teenager, girl or boy, $25 and $20 respectively. A kid's cut, just $18. Maybe you need your roots touched up. They have that as well. And they can do your nails, take care of your lashes, facial treatments, waxing, and what I plan to get is a massage. Roots Hair Design, 5459 Molly Pitcher Highway in Chambersburg. $10 off your first service to any new guests, and they're approaching their 12th year in business. You don't last that long if you're not doing something, or in their case, a lot of things right. Roots Hair Design, we can't thank them enough for being part of the Tiny and Katy Show.
More of the Tiny and Katy Show starts now.
And we're back. Katy, on Tuesday, I visited with some friends at Old Line Tattoo in the Valley Mall. And I know you remember Kim and Dave.
I love that place. And he went on to win Ink Master?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And now they have all these locations, right?
Yeah, and he's never there anymore at the Hagerstown location. And I get it. The place out in Los Angeles and all. And why wouldn't you if you could? But he was there and I didn't know it. And it was so great.
I love them.
So great to see him. It's always good to see Kim, and their staff is just, you can tell they hire the best people just in general, let alone the best artists.
And let me just chime in real quick. I remember when they opened a tattoo shop in the mall.
Yes.
And I remember that everybody was thinking,
like, what?
This is weird. What's going on with that? And they were so successful. Mm-hmm. And Dave went on Ink Master 1 and now has become this like very well-known tattoo artist, and they have all these stores. And I remember when they were just this small little store in the Valley Mall, and we were in there doing remotes and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's wonderful, and they haven't changed a bit. They are just still the most. The only thing that's changed is their schedule is just booked solid. Mm-hmm. So I text Kim the week before, and it was like on a Thursday or Friday leading into July 4th weekend. And I said, hey, here's a tattoo I want. I sent her a picture of it. I said, do you have anything coming up soon? Because for whatever reason, when I get a tattoo, I don't like to wait on it. It's not a matter of, make sure that I'm treated and get in immediately. It's just I don't want this long 6-month period to think about it. I want to do it, and that's all there is to it. Because I kind of get excited about it. Mm-hmm. So she said, well, it just so happens that if you can do Tuesday at 3, Kike, who is the guy who did my praying hands tattoo, he's available. If not, which is fine, we're looking into October to when we can get you in. And I'm like,
wow.
Well, 3 o'clock normally wouldn't work. I just happened to be doing mornings that day. So I said, yes, I will be there. It all worked out. So let me show you the tattoo, and I'll put a better picture of it up here. But anyway, so this is the tattoo that I got. All right.
Wow.
So it's for those of you who do not have the benefit of seeing this, it's the lion and the lamb, which is there's biblical significance. Obviously, the lion will lay down with the lamb. Christ is the lamb, and then we'll come back as a lion of the tribe of Judah. And then it's also significant for my daughter Reagan, as in I'll always try to be her protector as long as I'm around. So
Wow.
I
love it.
It's probably my favorite tattoo that I have. I have 4, and that's the big one, literally and figuratively. So
Yeah, you've becoming quite a tattoo man.
yeah, I know. Anyway, so this turned into by the way, Kike talked me into getting the biggest version that he printed out. He printed 3 versions, one's like this, one's like this, and then one is like what you saw. And I said, it's between the medium size and the large one. I'm going to defer to you. He said, I always tell people to go bigger, just because that's just how I've always done it. So I said, okay, fine, we'll do that. So we started at 3 p.m. This thing lasted over 4 hours.
I was just going to ask you, how long did it take you to get it done? It's a long time.
It wasn't that it didn't bother me the time. I mean, I had, Mary already knew I'm going to be, blocked off, whatever. So he worked from the bottom up, and he got up about a third of the way. By this time, we're 2 hours in, and I'm thinking, was this supposed to be spread out over a couple sessions? Because I don't know how he's gonna finish. I didn't say this to him. I didn't know.
It's a big tattoo. Yeah, I would think the same thing.
And we get to hour 3, and Katie, now mind you, I had resituated my weight because you get kind of like, stiff a little bit here and there. We'd gotten up one time for a stretch break. We hit hour 3, and something happened in me that has never, ever happened before. I told him, I was like, I think I need to use the bathroom. I thought I was going to pass out.
From the
and I've
pain,
never passed.
or?
No. I've never passed out, and I'll explain what happened because I did not know this was happening. I've never passed out, so I didn't know what that feeling was. And that's like up until I threw up about 5 years ago. I didn't even know what that felt like to know it was coming.
I remember this.
So I get to the bathroom, I'm splashing water on my face. I'm breaking out in sweats. It's just unbelievable. It's like it was an out-of-body experience is the best way I can describe it. I make it back to the seat. He's like, hey, you ready to go? I said, yeah, and I'm totally faking it because something is
Not
wrong
right.
that I just can't put my finger on. He starts going again. I said, Kike, do you have any water? He didn't have any. Well, he wound up getting me 2 bottles of water. I mean, I chugged it. He said to me, he goes, do you think it's your blood sugar? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I have no idea. If it is, I've never had that happen before. I mean, I've been hungry before, but never my blood sugar plummet. That's exactly what happened. My blood sugar bottomed out completely. And it was one of the more scary things that I've ever experienced, having never gone through it before. Mm-hmm. He got me about 4 or 5 Dum Dum lollipops, right? And brought them out. And apparently when people get a piercing there, they give each person one of those, not like a, hey, good girl or good boy, but it's because of that very reason. So what happens is physiologically, and I didn't know this, is your body is suffering trauma when you get a tattoo or you get a piercing. And it sends all the resources that you have in your body built up to basically protect your body. Well, the first thing to go are your glycogen stores or your sugar. So you plummet completely after a while. Now, if it's like a 2-hour tattoo, you're probably not going to notice much. But when you get into the 3, 4, and then tap out sessions is what they call them, you best be. And apparently this is a very frequent occurrence, which Kike told me. I was scared to death. Scared to death of this. I had no idea what was going on. It was unbelievable. But once he gave me those lollipops, and I had one for about, 30 seconds, is game on. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's like a complete reset of my system. So the most arduous tattoo I have had to date, the most rewarding, and gave me the best story because I really thought that I was going to do a face plant in the middle of Old Line Tattoo with Dave standing right there.
Yeah, he's not going to help you either.
Yeah, right. How could he?
I passed out about 2 years ago because this is kind of embarrassing, but whatever, I'll share. I was so constipated and I was in so much pain that I passed out. That was the last time I passed out.
Here's how we're going to end this. Because we're in the season of this, it seems like we're talking about health, and I'm going to end it this way, and I'm going to give you the warning of all warnings right now. Okay. I have been miserable for a week. Absolutely miserable. I'm not going to go into too many details except to say that I have never been more than 20 feet away from a toilet this entire week and have been nauseous and thought I was dying, thought something was legitimately wrong.
So what's going on with you?
Okay, here's the problem. First of all, I'm just going to say it. We're on a podcast, and you know what? We're all adults here. I've had horrendous diarrhea for a week, and that's all I've had.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful. to the point, not just the act in and of itself, but the effects of it in certain areas of your body. I mean, it's actually difficult for me to sit now. And yes, I said sit. But anyway, what happened was I'm looking up all these different things. First of all, I tested for COVID because they're finding out that now, I don't know if it's a new variant or whatever, but that a majority, about a third of people who are getting COVID now, the only symptoms that they're getting is nausea and diarrhea. That's it. Okay. Nothing else. Nothing respiratory. So tested for that. That was negative. So I'm like, I can't figure out, what's going on. Is it a stomach virus? I didn't want to go to the doctor just because I get the big D, even though it's going into a week. So I looked this up, and here it was that I eat too much watermelon. And it's so stupid because it's nothing noble. It's not like I was, trying to save someone from an accident and suddenly I just got this case of diarrhea. I eat too much watermelon. And I was. At this time of year, I eat watermelon practically on a daily basis. Douse it in Old Bay, take it for lunch. It's something that I have a lot, and I love it. Well, it does not love me. If you eat too much watermelon, and here's your warning for the year, I'm telling you, because we're in that season, just be careful, and especially with babies, because Reagan went through it a little bit too, is a little bit here and there is fine, but if you eat it on a daily, you're in for a rude awakening, because I don't think that anyone can be spared from this travesty that is right. Like right now, I'm surprised that I had the 30 minutes to devote to this podcast, because I guarantee you I'm rumbling right now. If I put a microphone on my stomach,
do it. Let's hear it.
Hang on. It stopped now. Of course it would stop.
Of course.
But I'm telling you, it was the other day. I was sitting with Elevation Healthcare, and I swear to you, my stomach physically jumped, like, and the nurse was like, "Are you okay?" I mean, you thought there was a baby in me trying to get out. It jumped that hard.
I've been there in the dentist chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and with your what did you get? Diverticulitis.
Well, that was terrible. But Tiny got me this coffee, and they had put sugar-free creamer, sugar-free flavoring. Okay. I don't remember.
Let's end with this. This will be the funny story for the day. Okay. So Katy had a dentist appointment, and I picked up. It was from Sheetz soy lattes, and got sugar-free vanilla, sugar-free caramel, and sugar-free chocolate in them. And one for each of us. It's the same thing for both of us. And I give her hers, and it was like, oh, this is really good, which it was.
Yeah, I mean, it was great.
Amazingly good. Mm-hmm. She goes to her dentist appointment, and I go home. Take it, Katy.
I'm in the dentist chair, and I'm going to poop my pants.
Yes.
Like, you could hear it. You could feel it. Like, everybody was like, are you okay? I was sweating. I was pale. I was shaking. And I was like, I don't know what's going on, but there's something happening in my stomach. And I'm trying,
she's a root canal in.
I mean, they're doing a root canal. Yeah. And I'm trying to, like, clench and, think about something else. But when you can't hold that in. And I said, guys, I need you to stop. Like, we need to find a stopping point. Luckily, I knew them, so I was more comfortable saying it. But if I didn't know them, like, I was going to poop my pants in that chair. Like, if I didn't get to a bathroom, I was going to poop my pants in that chair. Right. So I told them, I said, I have to use the bathroom. Is there like a private one I can use? And they did. And then I don't remember if they found a stopping point because I had to leave. Like, I was sick as a dog.
Yeah.
And on the way home, I stopped at 5 gas stations to use their bathroom. And I think the commute time was like 20 minutes.
Right.
And when I got home, I was sick as a dog. And I text Tiny and I was like, what the hell? What's in that latte?
Well, so, if you remember, you called me.
And you were on the toilet too.
No, I wasn't yet. No, that's the thing. So she calls me and she goes, Tiny, something's wrong. She goes, are you? She said, I think that latte must have been bad. She said, are you experiencing? I said, no, I feel absolutely fine. And mind you, at the time I did. And I said, no, we're good. I said, the only thing I can figure is must have been sorbitol in
that, which is a natural laxative.
Yes, it is a laxative. And you literally in the medical profession, they will inject you with sorbitol and it will move you to the point where you just have no control over anything.
Well, it moved me to tears for sure.
Yeah, it
and everybody at the dentist's office.
So I'm laughing at her. I'm like, oh, so I hang up from her and I'm like, that girl, I swear, she would have this reaction to it. And I swear to you, it was about 20 minutes later. And next thing I know, my stomach jumped and on the toilet I went.
Yeah,
and we
it was
both
bad.
spent the evening.
It was bad.
With the porcelain gods for sure.
And
so
the thing is, I have belly issues. I have diverticulitis, so I have stomach issues all the time anyway. But you throw in some sorbitol and a dentist chair, and you have a recipe for straight up disaster.
So the next time Katie and I are together, we're gonna have soy lattes from Sheetz, and we're gonna have watermelon. And boy, we're gonna have a time. Woo!
We'll see what happens, guys.
I tell you, we'll report back. Tell you what, we'll do the podcast with the watermelon and the soy lattes from Sheetz.
We are not doing those things whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
not.
I like where your head's at.
Hey, have a great week. We will talk to you again. Tiny and Katie Show coming at you from Roots Hair Design Route 11 in Marion. We love you.
Bye.